Alright, boys and girls, we are back, and this time it's something special. It's a Simul against the current world champion in chess, Magnus Carlsen. Let's try to play something solid in the opening here. So this is the second set of his Simul performance here at Chess24. He started out playing 15 people, or it actually turned out to be only 13, I think, and now he's on the second set against approximately 15 opponents, so hopefully we can be very solid in the opening, and maybe he will be distracted by some other strong challengers so that we are not wiped off the board directly. And also we have the white pieces, which should be to our advantage here. It's a bit of a strange opening. So we could probably go d4, but I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to have to invest a little bit of time here to plan my opening setup. So a lot of different moves are possible, of course. I have to be a little bit careful about not giving up the whole control over the center squares. So c4 is one of the most natural moves in the position. Let's go c4, why not? It looks like sort of a reverse Sicilian. He plays this a little bit strange, I have to say. h6, I don't see why that move is doing anything much. So, do I want to go d4 here? At least we're having something very original here. And maybe I want to keep being original by playing b3 or something. Because my dark squared bishop is sort of prevented from going to f4 and g5 right now, so maybe I want it in the other diagonal here. Or I could copy his strange maneuvering and playing a3. Just so many options. Of course, he would like to play d5, possibly right away, so okay, I guess we'll try to play a bit standard right now. Let's go with knight c3. So next maybe we want to bring the other knight out and okay. So he goes bishop b4. And does he really want to give that bishop away if I play a3 here? If he takes, I'm relatively happy. If he doesn't take, I'm also relatively happy. I think this is fine for me. I guess he's going to take on c3 and try to make my remaining dark square bishop look bad, combined with some play against my doubled pawn or something, but don't really see the big problems for white here. And later, if I bring my knight to f3, he can attack it by advancing his pawn to e4, but that might be a point of target for attack for me later, so I'm doing okay here. Of course, my setup hasn't put a lot of pressure on black either, so Right, he took on c3, of course. Any other move would not be logical, since if first he played bishop to b4, it would not be logical to go away again. So I suppose I should capture with the b pawn and go for a quick d4 development move here. Yeah. There's really very few arguments of taking with the d pawn there, so so now we have a decent control in the center. I have to watch a little bit what's happening with my c4 pawn, I guess. And also make sure that my dark squared bishop doesn't get stuck anywhere. Right, so still there's a lot of choices. I'm spending a bit much of time already, but on every move there seems to be quite a few choices, so which plan to choose and which pieces to develop. I could go d3 or I could go d4. Alright, I'll go d4 to challenge the center a little bit, and maybe his knight back on b8 has a little bit of a problem developing naturally, because my pawn's take up a lot of square. Okay, he plays very critical here, advancing the pawn. So now I can try to be original again and play h4 followed by knight h3. He played quite strange in this opening, I have to say. Usually I'm the one who are very creative and play strange move in the opening, but this time it was the world champion. Mostly. So let's also play some strange moves. I want to play h4 and knight h3. It looks slightly strange, but I think it's justified because otherwise I don't quite like the look of bringing my knight to e2 because if I play e3 the line is blocked for my bishop there. So, and if I play knight h3 directly, you can go g5. Let's go for it. Okay, he plays very quick again. There's some cute attacking chances connected at some point to a knight g5 move, but let's not be delusional here. So my king is pretty safe after a castle short, so I think we did alright in the opening. It's a bit unusual, we almost played 10 moves and most of the pieces are on the back ranks still, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. The good thing is I don't really see any very strong plans for him to challenge the center. So I should just try to sit on some space here. Right, so okay, so he can go knight a5 and challenge the c4 pawn, which then would have to advance. But even that position is pretty decent, so okay, maybe, oh yeah, right, he will go b6. It could be a slight problem. I have to watch out because he is grabbing some initiative on the light squares there. So now queen a4 is possible, but I'm not sure I like that move very much. So it seems I have to leave with some holes after all, because he will probably play b6 and knight and bishop to a6, so Okay, going back to the Queen A4 ID. It feels like I'm just going to be chased away later and lose a lot of time, so I guess I have to play C5 after all. Alright. In theory, I can threaten something on the king side because he sort of switched his attention away from those squares. So I can dream of sacrificing something on h6. But I really wanted the rook line. Okay, he plays d6 now. Going to have to take that one. This is sort of a strange game. But it feels like his play is a little bit more harmonious than my play. That knight move to h3, it doesn't seem to have a lot of great prospects from there, so... Alright, so now he has a clear target to go for attacking my c-pawn here. And I could play d5 to really confuse, make a confusing pawn structure here. If he manages to play d5 with no drawbacks, he just has a very, very good positional advantage, I think. Alright, let's go for it. Good or bad, I think I have to go for d5 to create some unbalance here. I have a lot of weaknesses, but also maybe his e4 pawn can become weak at some point. So now he threatens to take, either take on d5 after attacking it with his bishop, or Okay, I could perhaps go f3. So, if I'm honest, it looks like I'm going to be positionally outplayed here on the in the center, so I might have to look for some attacking counter chances against the black king there. So the f3 move, it's a little bit crazy, but I want to open some attacking lines against the black king, so or maybe we return to our desperate direct plan with bishop f4, queen c1, and sacrificing on h6. It's a problem because I run into all these all different kinds of forks also. Even if I get to play bishop f4 and queen c1, then he has a fork with knight b3, forking the queen and rook, so it's not very harmonious here. So I guess we'll go knight f4 instead, so we keep the material balance for a little longer. I'm blocking my own place, so that's not very good, but the plans to sacrifice on h6 are not looking like anything for me, so but the problem is he's going to eat that d5 pawn anyway, because he'll probably have rook e5 at some point. I really need to, even if I drop a pawn or two, I need to find a way to coordinate my pieces better. Alright, let's try it. One problem was with the plan of playing f3, I couldn't recapture with the bishop because my knight would be hanging on h3, so theoretically I might have a chance to play f3 at some point with a better timing than before. Alright, so he doesn't play the most critical line. That's a bit strange. Now I can happily play f3, right? And recapture with my or is he going to advance to e3 then? At least he's not threatening anything directly right now, so I might give myself the luxury to play my bishop out to e3 and then to d4. Okay, let's try f3 again, because at least let's look at it, because my remaining hope in this game is to get some counterplay on the king side, I think, because I'm going to be outplayed positionally with my weak pawns and weak c4 square and other things on the queen side. I could also play rook b1. Try to develop it to b4 to bounce over, hopefully bounce over to the king side at some point. I can't attack it all that easily. Okay, it's a bit of a hunch, but I'll go with it. I'm running a bit low on time now, so one idea is to bounce over to b4 with my rook, and then maybe grabbing the e4 pawn at some point. So it's sort of collapsing, isn't it? He's going to eat the c3 pawn at some point. I can play bishop. Okay, I can play some very ugly moves like bishop d2, but I don't know. I just don't see any good moves anymore. The f3 move, it simply doesn't work because he will play e3 back, and I've only made it worse for myself. Bishop b2 is such an ugly move to have to play. Let's see. Bishop b2 is just too horrible to play because he will play knight c4, and I'd rather sacrifice 2 pawns than bury my bishop on b2 like that. I'll have to sacrifice this c3 pawn, I think. The problem is that this knight on f4 isn't really going anywhere, so I can't seem to generate any counterplay. Okay, we need to start moving because we're about to lose some time, so let's find something. Queen d4. Right. So he's going to take on c3 now with the rook, and okay, I can dream of getting something on the king side, but it looks very artificial. But I can try going king h1. That's the one thing in my position. I have more pieces on the king side than he has, so in theory, if there could be some attacking potential over there. So maybe I'll go king h1 and then plan g4 and rook h1 and g5. So I have no idea about any of the other games or how strong the opposition is this time, but Magnus had not a great score in the first set of the Simul against his first 13 opponents, so one It's possible he took this a little bit more seriously after doing rather mediocrely in the first set, so okay, let's keep dreaming of some chances on the king side here. Takes an awful long time, but it has to be connected to a g5 break or something, I think. So bringing my queen to d2. One idea is if rook takes c3, I play queen d2, and after he moves his rook, I occupy the c file. So then, if he plays knight to c4, I can sacrifice my rook there. But it's really not enough firepower. Or I could also, if the timing is right, I could go f3. Because now he cannot play the pawn to e3. It was very surprising how quickly my position collapsed. I had to be doing okay in the opening there. Even if he doesn't win, even if he hadn't the chance to take material, I would be in a bad position here. So just not enough power for any kingside play, I think. Just have to look for the most interesting sacrifice, and so I guess the best hope is to put my king on h1 and the rook to g1 and go for some kind of a pawn advance. Yeah. He should just take on c3 and be a pawn up. There's not really any reason to fear anything. Oh. There is a message that the opponent disconnected, which is not ideal. Hopefully he's back very quickly to continue. I'm not seeing the chat or the other board, so I have no idea if there's some message in that arena. So I'll just assume he'll be back shortly to keep on playing. Let's see if there's some information somewhere. Hopefully it's a very temporary problem. I guess he's going to be back soon. That's my guess. But my position has some permanent problems. So if he takes on c3, he could go bishop d4, but Actually, why not? Why not? Let's answer it with bishop d4. So even if that takes away a defender of the d5 pawn. It seems like Magnus actually is disconnected on all the boards, so hopefully he will be back very shortly. And let's hope it's not a big problem for his clock. On my board he had a lot of time, but in theory he could be a bit shorter on other boards and struggle a bit with the time. I wonder where it all went wrong for me. If I rewind a little bit. Here at the 10th move I thought everything was quite in order, and it collapsed very quickly. I simply got a very quick play against my c-pawn. When he placed d6 I sort of had to take it, and then d5, right. Okay, let's analyze the game while Magnus is away, waiting to reconnect. So here I was quite happy with the bishop pair and seemingly good control in the center. And then this knight h3 move didn't really work out, so maybe that was a bad idea to go there. And in this position Queen a4 was of course possible. Maybe it was a better idea after all. But I'm not so sure. He plays b6 and then probably d6 and bishop d7. Very strange game. And after he plays his bishop a6 move, it seems quite obvious that black is better, because he has a lot of pressure against my c-pawn, also some pressure against my d-pawn. Okay, we're back. Rook c3 played. So we will pretend that we have some chances with the long diagonal of the bishop here. Maybe there's some exchange sacrifices I can tempt him with. So the rook moves, and then I don't really believe in it. I guess another serious disconnect is the only hope for the white pieces in this game. That the world champion will have a serious internet problem. I don't think there will be bragging rights for winning on time in a lost position. Okay, he takes another pawn. Okay, let's try f3 anyway. It's bad, but everything is bad. He can safely play e3 here. He plays it. Is that rook on a3 in any way vulnerable? No, it's not really. So let's just go g4. Okay. Rook a2 played. Okay, now if I can play going to d4. Oh, is it that easy? Yep, I don't have queen b3 here, so and knight d2 is a threat, so this is game over. Okay, whatever. Actually, if he plays knight... No, that was a miscalculation actually. You can safely grab an exchange with knight d2 here. But at least I managed to play g5 now. So there will be some theoretical attacking chances. He played rook d2 for some reason. I don't really get why he wouldn't put a knight there instead. Now I can play queen a4. That's attacking the bishop. Maybe this little rook on d2. Ah, okay. I missed that one. That's a piece, and the knight is hanging. So taking on a6 doesn't help. Alright, so this was game over. I was very optimistic at the start, but it was a lesson in how to outplay someone positionally this game. So he's going to take on f4 or play knight d2, and I'm going to resign and see how the other guys did. That's it. Good game, Magnus. I will try to find something to learn from this one. Let's see if we can check out how the other Simul players did. Oh, I guess you cannot really see it very well. Let's try this. So the first 15 games were the first half of the Simul. So he was supposed to play 15 opponents and then the rest 15 later. So in the first set of 15 he scored 9 wins and 2 draws and 2 losses, which was surprisingly tough opposition. And now let's see the opponents after Cedric, which was the second set. So there are some games ongoing. That's 3 wins for Magnus, and 1 that didn't start, and another win, and another win, All right. He seems he's on track to win every game in this second part. So good job, Magnus. Good luck in your future tournaments. Okay, that's it for today, guys. I'll catch you later with some other content, chess or otherwise. Take care.